Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Gyle here, and welcome back to the Forged Delights Forever promotional series Saturday special. That's right, managed to dig up some time, all very exciting. What's even more exciting, of course, is we talked about it yesterday, that Humble Bundle deal still running and will be for the next 5 days. That's right, you have 5 days, ladies and gentlemen, to pick up Subcom FA for $1. That is the best and finest dollar you will ever spend, believe me. No other dollar will bring you so many hours of fun and fulfillment. I will not accept monetary excuses any longer because you've had your chance. The only excuse I now accept is that you don't own a PC. And quite frankly, if you don't own a PC, you are beyond help. I tell you what, sell your TV, your kettle, your toaster. Don't eat for a few months. Buy yourself a PC, and then we can talk. But otherwise, you have no excuse not to get your big, shiny metal backside into the world's finest community-driven lobby ever devised. Anyway, on to today's game. It's going to be a ladder match, and it's going to take place on Summer Duel. I'm ready, you're ready, the players are ready, so let's go over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. All very exciting. Let's take a look at the players. Over here in the west, in the blue corner, it's my good friend Chosen, and he's dropped his tag plates. I'm not sure exactly when that happened. I haven't seen the tags in I don't even know how long it's been. Like Tag Rock, Tag Pebble, Tag Uber, all of those guys, Wet Lettuce, they've all disappeared. They've been abducted by Somali pirates or something. I guess Chosen was feeling sad all by his lonesome, so he's dropped those plates. He's gone back to just good old Chosen. Nothing wrong with that. We like you, bro. Anyway, he's going Aeon and opening first land, and his opponent over here in the east, the ever and always dangerous Congreve, also going Aeon, so it's a mirror matchup, and he's opening first land as well. Let's take a little bit of a look at what these guys are producing straight off the bat. We had a couple of engineers coming out from Chosen, and then he switched up to an Aurora and a Spirit, no doubt to run protective detail for this expanding engineer down here. Currently he's going to pick up this big rock. I don't know if he'll be hanging about to get more of this reclaim or potentially moving up. He's queued up a large amount of wall sections there, wants to close this down completely, and it's not a bad play on this one. You know, shut this down, turn this more into a kind of winter duel thing you can focus on rather than 3 potential avenues of attack. You can focus on 1 or 2 at least in the early game, assuming of course your enemy doesn't plow through them with tons of T1 or a few engineers just to reclaim them. But Congreve pushing out with a couple of Auroras, actually being a little bit aggressive there, and he's got a Spirit going along with that too. He gets the best of the deal down here, and he could potentially snag this NG. There is another Spirit coming out there. There it goes. NG has been caught, takes a couple of Aurora shells, and eventually succumbs to the fire. But Chosen conversely looking a little bit stronger up here on the top. It's 2v2. Who's going to get the better of this? Nice little bit of micro there from Chosen. Keeps both his Auroras intact. And now we've got a couple of engineers that are in a very precarious position indeed. Down that goes. So he kind of evens things up slightly. There's still this Aurora down here at the bottom for Congreve, though. 5 kills for that puppy already. But it is astonishing to see how good the Aurora's micro now since the alterations. But Congreve has balls out, marched straight forward with his ACU. I guess taking the gamble that Chosen might have been potentially out of his base, had selected one of the other alternate avenues to put his ACU through. That, I think that would be a pretty significant mistake on this one, because that would of course allowed Congreve to strut his stuff right up to the foot of Chosen's base and to start damaging it. Chosen trying to slow up Congreve's retreat a little bit there by building a structure behind him. Nice little bit of quick thinking there. It doesn't cause any major havoc in gameplay, but it shows the level that these guys play at compared to the rest of us mere mortals. Congreve breaking through a little bit on the northern pass. But look at these bombers out for Chosen, and Congreve has no way to respond to this air game at the moment except for to produce thistles. You can see he's starting to do that in larger numbers now. Thistle's not, well, generally T1 mobile anti-air is not the most efficient unit. And that does mean that Chosen is going to be able to harass quite efficiently in the early game. Chosen also pushing through the southern pass now, but backed up in the middle, not putting anything into the middle in terms of ground forces, or hasn't been so far. Quite happy to let his ACU do the work of halting these forces. Congreve, conversely, has put a lot of forces into that middle channel. But tons of vulnerable engineers kicking about, potentially for these bombers. But that was a beautiful double bomb right in the center of that mix of units, taking a number of units down in that one. Some static D now in place, some seekers from Congreve. He needed those desperately. Stop those bombers from going to town in the center of that base. Congreve doing significantly better though in terms of mass income here at the 6-minute mark. It's 15 to 19 in favor of Congreve. Chosen going to grab a upgrade, or an upgrade on his commander there. And that's 50% done, but he's really far forward indeed. Going to use his bombers to hopefully dissuade Congreve from moving any further forward and allow him time to get that finished. Congreve is a little bit more peaky, has taken more damage than Chosen. Just 6,000 hit points left on that ACU. That does play into Chosen's favor a little bit. But more bombers on the way for Chosen, who hasn't focused very heavily on the mexes. And he might want to think about doing that soon, because he is operating at that deficit still. It is still 19 to 15, and it's about to change again in favor of Congreve. That mex is destroyed, but Chosen bags another one simultaneously. Or actually, is Congreve having power troubles? Yes, he is. Congreve going to have to get his power situation sorted ASAP, and you can see he's clicked and dragged a line at the back of his base for that one. Some intel structures being placed there on the northern pass for Congreve. And finally, I think he's starting to get a handle on Chosen's bomber harass now. I think that might have been the last bomber. Another one's just come off the conveyor belt. But he sort of reached a critical mass of thistles in this body, making life rather too difficult for the air game, the air harass from Chosen. He'd like to move up here, Chosen, snag these two engineers and grab that mex if he can. Worth sending just a couple of Auroras to do that. But now Congreve's going to bag an upgrade on his comm. We'll take a look at what Chosen actually got on that commander. It wasn't the engineering suite, it will be a gun upgrade. There we go, the enhanced quantum disruptor. So going for the range on that one. Congreve very close to finishing his own upgrade. Chosen's about to eat a bunch of ACU fire, I would imagine.
Commander under attack.
And again, wasn't the engineering suite. This time it was the gun upgrade, but it was the other one. Congreve has gone for the rate of fire, the quantum accelerator upgrade on that comm. So it's range versus rate of fire at the 9-minute mark in this one so far. Chosen comes in with another bomber, but it doesn't even get a chance to get that bomb off. Too many thistles and seekers in the area. Pops that one out of the sky for no loss. Congreve going for a second upgrade on that commander. Probably wants to get the range upgrade as well. And that will be Chosen operating at a disadvantage in this area if he manages to achieve that. And I think he's going to. Bombing coming over, taking out a decent amount of collateral Auroras there. Collateral damage. But Congreve is going to finish that upgrade. And now he's got range and rate of fire. Suddenly that ACU is a walking death machine. And this ball of T1 from Chosen has to back up or face critical losses. I think it's going to anyway, to be honest. Eruptors being placed in Congreve's base now. Finally, that mex does get selected for destruction. 23 to 25 in favor of Chosen now. Chosen just edging ahead in the mass. Still behind in the power, though.
Commander under attack.
He's using significantly less at the moment than Congreve is. Congreve, much more power-hungry setup at the moment. Does that mean we've got upgrades on the way? He is starting to produce some air units, so he's finally constructed an air factory. He wants to get involved in the air game. And Congreve once again advances. Another upgrade, this time on Chosen. Could this be in response to that range? And Chosen has to cancel. Absolutely brutal, the timing on that, so that's wasted mass and energy there for him. Nice timing on Congreve's push there. And Chosen's merry band of T1 been whittled down to just a handful of units now. He has got a decent amount of units up here in the northern pass, but he can't advance because of this eruptor. Doesn't have any fervors, any light artillery in the mix there. He's got one back here. He's got a couple back here, in fact. That'll allow him to take that out. You can see perhaps a little bit of overproduction there. But Chosen well aware of what he needs to make any progress on that top pass. Congreve not going to push up the middle, at least not yet. He's probably concerned about what's going on up here, wants to keep his ACU in place. And now we've got some tech on the field, and that'll have been where Congreve was binning all of his power. You can see that T2 land factory in play. We've got T2 engineers up the front building Oblivion turrets. It's going to be a significant step up in this game. Is there any T2 on the cards yet for Chosen? Not yet. Actually, there is. Sorry, excuse me. There's already T2 in play for Chosen. He's gone the other route. He's gone T2 air, and he's already got a couple of Spectres, or a Spectre on the field, soon to be a second one. That could be very interesting indeed. Chosen has favoured airplay in this one so far. The question is Congreve expecting that? Congreve presents an uneven face to his opponent, meanwhile, in the top pass, and eats an awful lot of artillery and Aurora fire. Gets the worst of that exchange despite having more numbers present up there. We are seeing some flak in play now. Mobile Ascendants on the field. Chosen managed to finish the rate of fire upgrade. Yes, he did. So Chosen has completed that upgrade now and is on level pegging with Congreve's ACU. In fact, ahead, because he at least has a decent amount of hit points. Hopefully around 6k more. Once again, he has Congreve pinned back slightly. However, things not going so well for him in the top pass. Obsidians have turned up on the field. As long as that's microed, he can bully this little band of T1 to his heart's content. Another band of reinforcements on the way, and these Oblivion turrets were never so welcome as they are right now. Focusing on Chosen's ACU, not worrying about the T1 for the moment. He withdraws that band of reinforcements that were heading north to push this little band of T1 back, but he's got Spectres incoming now. How strong is his air defense? Looking pretty good, to be honest. One Spectre down, two Spectre down, and the third one down, all for literally less than a handful of engineers. But Chosen looking very peaky indeed. 2,600 hit points on the clock. Eats another couple of rounds of Oblivion turret fire down well into the red. 1,600 hit points and climbing. He backs up. He's lucky to get out of that one, quite frankly. And that allows him to redirect, Congreve to redirect. That Obsidian back up here will clear up all of this. There's a decent amount of mass up here now available for reclaim if either of these two guys can claim the initiative up here. And Chosen has walled off both sections now. Looking to perhaps invest even more heavily in airplay. It's difficult though, I always say this, airplay on a map this size, where there's not a lot of outlying mass, and the core base is quite condensed. Makes it even harder to make airplay pay, if you know what I mean. But that's the way he's going with it. He has also got himself a land factory HQ, so he's got options. Volcano's going up now in the center of the base. Chosen concerned that it's getting to that time of the game where attack missiles could make an emergence. And T2 Air in play now for Congreve, responding to that gunship threat, building some Spectres of his own. And rather than going straight for Obsidians, he's actually building Asylums at the moment to protect his units. The Spectres wailing away on that lone Obsidian up there, and it really does show you how tanky those Obsidians are. Such very strong units. A little bit of an interceptor frack up as Congreve goes after the Spectres. I think Chosen's going to be able to keep them safe and probably gain a little bit of air dominance in the process. Lone Spectre out for Congreve. Chosen goes chasing. Doesn't want to go right the way into the middle of the base. Manages not to do so. Takes out that Spectre in good time. Congreve going to bag that mech's back. 39 mass to 31. So Congreve ahead on the internal base upgrades. Outlying mass being harassed by Chosen's gunships. Congreve dispatches another sortie of interceptors, and Chosen tries to screen with his own, but that does not go well. It looks like he's going to lose those two Spectres on top of everything. Sends it in to start harassing an Eruptor there. Knows he's probably not going to get out, so why not take a few hit points off something. Down he goes. And these guys just playing very cagily now. Not pushing too hard, but that's a nasty ball of T2 that's building up in the middle of this map. 20 minutes gone. And Chosen looking a little bit behind now, suddenly, having looked so promising for the last 5 minutes or so. He's going to get another upgrade on his comm, presumably some kind of actually I don't know, he's got both gun upgrades on that puppy. He's not going to want to ditch that in favor of the engineering suite, perhaps the personal shield. But Congreve begins to press, comes right up to the foot of Chosen's base. Chosen has a couple of Oblivion turrets in play. Congreve decides to go for a bit of a run by, see if he can get into the back. This is going to have to be the most valuable target right now. This T2 power generator at the back, that would really hurt Chosen, and it looks like that's what Congreve could be going for. He targets the power generator. Still hit points to go on the Obsidians, and only 80 HP left on that T2 power generator. It survives by the wisp of a mosquito's fart. It survives. That's unreal. 80 hit points. Could have been absolutely brutal. I think that would have been potentially game ending if Chosen had lost that at this stage. Instead, Chosen's able to throw a shield on. So has he? It looks like he's changed up. Was that? No, he hasn't. He had to abandon that upgrade during that last attack, so that's more mass and energy wasted there. Very unfortunate indeed. So the timings on these upgrades just not going Chosen's way at the moment. We've got swift winds piling up back here though, but definitely more on the field for Congreve, who's looking stronger in the air and the land suddenly. 22 minutes gone in this one. Chosen pushes north and leads this merry band with the fervours up front so he can harass. Single solitary Spectre comes in for Congreve and then goes straight to the top left corner and starts wailing away on an exposed T1 mechs. Swift winds come in from Chosen. Takes out the Spectre but not in time to save the mass extractor. And while those swift winds are embroiled in a little battle, we get a couple of T1 bombers in for good measure. It takes out a huge quantity of T1 and build capacity in this pile. Nicely done. And we've got a miasma on the way for Chosen. And if that goes online, that could shake things up a little bit. That's very atypical of play you would see actually on Winter's Duel rather than Summer's Duel. These little fire bases that emerge on these central middle plateaus almost every single game. But Congreve bearing down on this position. Will he get time to build it? Will he get time to use it? It's looking doubtful. Ascendants in this mix deal with the Spectres no problem, but that's a lot of obsidians he's got to thin out. And he will have seen this, and he'll not want this to go online, but it has gone online. So Congreve is going to push once again. A shield gen gets started. One of the units of build capacity that's working on it goes down. The second goes down. That will not be completed, save for the ACU or more build capacity coming out. But you can see how dangerous this miasma will be. Look at the range on that puppy. Lots and lots of stuff. Vulnerable. More Spectres incoming. Go straight to the miasma, but get brushed aside by those Ascendants. Chosen brings up an Asylum to shield it. Give it a little bit more coverage. The Swift Winds don't want to hang about up here, especially not with a Mar in place as well, making life even more difficult. A couple of bombers come in trying to drop some bombs off, but all they do is impact on the top of that Asylum. And as that miasma powers up, it launches its first shot. And this is something that Congreve is going to have to get a handle on. He's going to want to take this out, doesn't want to get into an artillery war and start from behind, certainly. And the height differential bags it a little bit of extra distance. T2 P-Gen bites the dust. How does that affect Congreve's power? It's okay. He's got a second one up here. It's keeping him afloat for the moment. Not too bad. He immediately starts reclaiming. Well, he started reclaiming and then changed his mind and went to building. But another push by Congreve. He's desperate to get rid of this artillery emplacement. Brushes aside the first Asylum. A second one turns up. Question is, does Chosen have enough firepower to kill this off in time? No, he doesn't. And yes, Congreve loses most, if not all, of those units, but totally worth it. That was a far too dangerous position to have a static artillery emplacement. Had to take it apart at all costs. A little bit of shielding going up at the front of Congreve's base in response to that last play from Chosen. 51 mass to 49, 50 to 55, alternating backwards and forwards about who's in the lead on this one, but either way, it's very close indeed. And now Chosen just edging forward with even songs, and I'm just loving the play and counterplay, response and riposte that's going on in this one. Lots of reactionary play, lots of counter strategies being employed in a pretty short space of time, really. Bombers coming out from Congreve trying to deal with those even songs, but as yet unsuccessful. And a transition to T3 explains why Congreve was suddenly so thin on the field in terms of troop numbers. Harbingers make an appearance in the top lane, and Chosen's forced to back up. Can't deal with that. Have we got a reactionary upgrade? Actually, Chosen has upgraded at exactly the same time. Has 2 Harbs on the field already in his main base. So these guys really matching each other step for step at the moment in this one. We've got a bit of a combination going on, meanwhile, over in the east for Congreve, who's mixing up. He's not building pure Harbs. He's getting the odd Serenity in there, the odd mobile T3 artillery emplacement, going after those even songs. And of course, that reclaim function, incredibly useful on the Harbs. They come forward, knock another hole in that wall section, but can't contend with the continuous Oblivion fire. And they're forced to back up. Another single Harbinger down here at the bottom. Opens up a gap. And has to move forward and do it again if he wants to breach this bottom section. Indeed he does. And on he presses. Only to meet 2 more Harbs there from Chosen. It's that stage in the game where everything is even. 30 minutes gone. You just start to wonder what's next if you're in this situation. We've got Mercies coming out from Chosen. He's obviously not going to be thinking of any kind of snipe. Congreve hasn't pressed forward. He's not exposed. He's over at his base. Well, he was over at his base. Sorry, he is actually going for a walk. He needs to be careful with Mercies making an appearance. But I wouldn't be surprised if these were precautionary Mercies or defensive ones. I was thinking of using, if necessary, on Harbingers that made too much progress far further forward. But some real success for this Serenity, bombarding this base. So there's a little tac missile battery that Chosen's thrown together in the center there. And Congreve's going to have to be careful there. He's going to want to spam some volcanoes about the map if he wants to protect his outer mass points. Lots and lots of obsidians, with a couple of Harbs up here. Chosen focus elsewhere as his troops eat a lot more fire without giving any out. And tac missile batteries wailing away. You can see Congreve isn't hanging around. Starts spamming those volcanoes. Does manage to pick up a hydro kill, but I'm pretty sure that's not going to harm Congreve's eco at this point. Can afford to lose a hydro after 30 minutes. Nice collective snag of some build capacity out front there from Chosen. It's so incredibly back and forth, this play. Still with no clear winner at the moment, although Congreve edging away in the mass side of things, 60 to 44. How are we doing on reclaim? 12.5k banked for Congreve, 14.2 banked from Chosen. Slight advantage there in favour of Congreve, but it's not overwhelming. Mercies come in to try and brush aside this group of Harbs, and if he'd done that a little bit earlier, he might have gained some traction up there at the top, might have potentially been able to get in here, brush aside the volcano and the P-gen, but he left it just a little bit too long, and as a result, a fresh group of Harbs were available. Timing is everything in this game. But that is a ton of swift winds. Congreve looking incredibly deadly in the air and looking dangerous on the field as well, on the ground, it has to be said. 135 hit points left on that Harbinger, just survives that last Serenity shell. Question is 3 harbs enough to break through these 2 Oblivions? I don't think it is. But all Congreve needs to do at this point is continue to throttle these outlying regions with his air and just outbuild Chosen on the ground. If he can throw together enough of these Serenities, he's got 5 in this mix already. Scratch that, now 4. Nice tac missile there from Chosen, who's trying to lead a little bit on these targets. Doing pretty well, actually, with this spot killing, putting these tac missile batteries to good use. A lot of people would have just reclaimed those once they'd gone for the old mass sniping. But not Chosen. And it's a good thing too, because it's a tool, and if he can use it effectively, he needs it right now. He is now most definitely behind. He's behind in mass, he's behind in units on the field. Upgrade on the commander there. Intrigued to see what's going on with that. And that was his resource allocation upgrade, and immediately catapults him up to level pegging. 1 mass over Congreve's intake now. So temporarily solving the issues he's been having for the last 5-10 minutes or so. And immediately starts production of a GC. That's interesting. That's a big gamble. He is light on the field right now. He doesn't have a lot. Congreve's been looking pretty strong. You can only surmise that the pressure is going to start or continue to build in the middle in terms of Serenities. And as he starts using up his eco more heavily in the building of that GC, he's going to have less of these tac missiles available. He's down to just 1 in the silo as it is. So he's not going to be able to continue to spam those at these Serenities to keep them on the move. That is a big, big gamble from Chosen. I guess he feels he needs to end it now. Can't really get back on top of this one conventionally. He is ahead on mass income at the moment, but that's all going to be used up pretty much on that Colossus. He's got a decent amount of troops out front now, at least. He actually got those together pretty darn quickly. He's got 3 T2 factories up here, but he's getting embroiled with a battle with an army that has significantly more Harbingers attached to it, and that's going to go quite badly for him, and he's going to drop back. But has he just destroyed his meat shield and opened the door for Congreve to push on the main base? These Oblivion turrets go down. It's more or less game over. And there goes the T2 PGen succumbing to Serenity Fire. Astonishingly, that's not crippling him. Not exactly sure how he's managing that. I suppose the resource upgrade on the comm giving him enough power there, thinking about it. And Chosen actually able to move forward with his ACU and scoop up a lot of the mass that he's just lost in that army. And that's going to help a lot with the construction of that GC. Not quite sure why Congreve backed up. He might have assumed those units were a little bit more dangerous than they actually were. Does he have any idea what's being built down here? He has got scout planes trying to penetrate the outer base, but this particular ascendant up here keeps shooting them down before they can get a read. And there it is. He should definitely have seen that now, and now he's got to be worried. Now he's got to press. If you hadn't seen it already, you can see the artillery shells landing on this front line now. If you can just knock down the shield, take out those Oblivion turrets, he should be good to march in there and knock out all of that build capacity. And then this gamble of Chosen's won't have paid off. Congreve once again ahead in the mass game. And he's getting a little bit defensive in these outlying regions, building some, well, quite a lot of static D down here. GC at 57,000 hit points and climbing. 57% done. It's such a gamble. On that income, it's such a gamble. And Congreve pulling ahead all the time now. 87 to 61. Nasty amounts of swift winds, complete air dominance. But again, can't do a lot with it on such a small map. Land is so important on this one. Land and ranged land is a huge game winner. 63% done and climbing on that GC. Attack missiles firing as soon as they have missiles available. But not managing to strike anything, only helping to keep them on the move. And look at this, a couple of shells landing for the Serenties. The shield gen has gone. The Oblivion turrets have been battered. Some of the build capacity has been destroyed. A lot of the build capacity gets destroyed. 72% done on that GC. I'd be amazed though if he gets to finish it at this point. How long can Chosen hold out is the question. And if it does get online, what if anything is Congreve going to be able to do about it? There's not enough defense in this base for him to be able to brush it aside. Certainly this little army in the middle isn't going to save him. Chosen doing such a good job with the asylums though. Brings in another one from the northern pass. I'm not really sure why he's not dispatching at least some units to pressure up here. All we've got is one point defense. He starts attacking simultaneously from both sides, and it would be a nightmare for Chosen to be able to contend with. He comes out once again. That's going to allow his eco to recover a little bit. And don't forget, there's continuous mass being deposited here from Congreve. He marches forward. A little overcharge there. Knocks aside a shield gen, and he's able to shoo off those forces once again. So Chosen back and forth with his ACU, making Congreve back up and then giving him room to recycle all of this mass that's sitting there, and then he can just go back to building that GC again. But in response, Congreve has realized that there's a possibility that GC might get online, so starts building one of his own. What's going to get done first is the question, and if Chosen's gets completed, will it get done quickly enough for him to march up there and take out either Congreve's ACU or cripple the base enough to stop Congreve's GC from going online? It's going to be remarkably close, that's for certain. Chosen retreats back towards the base with his ACU. 81% now and climbing. How much has he banked?
Commander under attack.
All of that bank mass now depleted. 30,200 mass banked by Chosen so far in terms of reclaim. That compares to just gone 20,000 from Congreve. And this is such a feature of SOCCOM, really. You continue to hurl stuff at your opponent, but don't manage to properly cripple him or finish him off. You can use it against you, which is exactly what Chosen is doing here. But the GC completes 93,000 hit points after taking quite a few shells of Serenity Fire. But that GC has gone up incredibly quickly. It's not surprising. Congreve now double Chosen's mass income. And that's a real shame for Chosen, because I'm pretty certain that GC is going to get online, and when it does, it's going to win against this one that already has a little bit of damage on it, but also what static D and units, offensive units, there are for Congreve will also assist. Two GCs engage one another, both rush in with their asylums to try and take the edge off. Chosen advances and is definitely losing this one already. His only chance is to try and locate the ACU, which is back here. Congreve hiding at the back of his base, must realize the GC is coming for him, surely. Starts moving. Question is, can he see it? Goes down into the red. 10,000 hit points. Gets a solution on Congreve's ACU, but doesn't finish the kill. That's absolutely brutal. I can't believe it. And now that is surely game for Congreve. Chosen did so well to get that online. But the problem is all the while Congreve was engaging in the middle here. He was spending the majority of his mass upgrading his eco, so when the time came for it, when he knew he wasn't going to be able to stop Chosen getting that GC online, he was able to just throw together one of his own. And now this is going to be game. I have no doubt about it. Chosen sitting in the center of his base. Fires a single shot at a landed interceptor of Congreve's at the back of his own base there. Chosen starts some Oblivion turrets, but I'm pretty sure that is going to be too little too late. In comes the GC for Congreve. Chosen marches out to face the music. And what a game. 51 3/4 minutes. Chosen loses to a GC after so nearly managing to pull off a victory from behind. Credit where credit's due, Congreve. And to be honest, to both players, that was a pretty sensational ladder match. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. I certainly did. As always, more to come from me in the future. In the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle, signing out.